It's loud. Yeah.
We'll call this meeting to order, and let's start with the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, let's see. Let's start with roll call, please.
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Swartz. Here. Trustee Valentine. Trustee Check.
Here.
Trustee Heck.
Here.
Trustee Hunter. Here. Trustee Stelter.
Here.
You have a form.
And we have a motion to approve the agenda. And does anyone have any changes that they want to make to the agenda? Okay, with that, we'd like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
All right, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to announcements, and this announcement has to do with the 2025 build, formerly known as RAISE grant update for Fifth and Grand Realignment Project. And I'm going to pass it off to Administrator Wynn to give us the good news.
Okay, good news. Preempted. Mary put in for a build grant earlier this year, January. It was formerly known as RAISE, but then with the new administration, it got changed to build. And that is for the Fifth and Grand project. We received word last week that we got it for an additional $1.8 million for Fifth and Grand, bringing the total to just under $3.7 million in grant funding for the Fifth and Grand project. It's incredible. So we got it. It's huge.
And Stefan, I'm just going to ask our town administrator, Wynn, how much-ish will we pay out of pocket for this project?
We have a local match of a little over $30,000 that we'll need to come up with by our grant with CDOT. So the Revitalizing Main Street grant had a requirement of like $30,142. That's our match for Fifth and Grand. Yeah.
And the total again was how much?
Total in grant funding so far is just under $3.7 million.
And we only have to pay about $30,000.
Correct. It's huge.
Yes. And I asked that the grant application be put in the agenda packet just to jog our memories. Because I honestly had forgotten that this had been put in. And then we get this good news. So it's all in there just for posterity. So that's one of the press releases that'll go out after this meeting. It's a big thank you to Senator Bennett, Hickenlooper's office, and Congressman Jeff Hurd's office. But Senator Bennett was whose office we went through, I think.
We didn't have to go through.
But we got letters of
support.
support. So towards this project, and it's excellent, just wonderful.
our next part of the agenda is for public comment from anyone in the audience or on Zoom who would like to speak for 3 minutes on any topic that is not already on the agenda. So this is your moment. If you have something you'd like to speak about, come on up to the podium. Okay.
And I'll time myself. How's that? So I'm doing this as a resident of town and somebody that is watching what we've been doing, and I will sign in as well. So let's go ahead and start. Okay. Stefan Wynn, Grand 3rd Street. So I've had a chance to reflect on my last 2 years in Paonia, which I celebrated my 2 years on July 12th. So a couple of weekends ago. Before moving into the rest of tonight's agenda, it's important to take a moment to acknowledge and recognize the collective efforts of this organization, an effort that continues to set a new standard for what effective, ethical, and forward-thinking local governance looks like. This team, made up of a courageous board of trustees, a determined planning commission, a results-driven staff, and an engaged, resilient community, continues to make history, not by chance, but by choice, by consistently doing what is right, even when it's hard. Together, this team accomplished what others tried and failed to do for nearly 30 years, the successful adoption of a new comprehensive plan. That was not a box checked, it was a transformative process. Through extensive public engagement, community input, and rigorous planning, the commission delivered a document that now stands as the most meaningful, and it's later on the agenda, an inclusive planning framework the town has seen in decades. It sets a bar not only for policy development, but for how local government should listen to and work with its residents. It's just a little more. The current board of trustees has proven willing to make bold decisions, sometimes unpopular, often difficult, but always rooted in the long-term interests of this community as opposed to personal agendas and single-issue policy making. The courage to take calculated risks and the integrity to prioritize impacts over optics have led to tangible improvements in the lives of residents and customers alike. On the administrative side, the staff has not only embraced a culture of high standards, but actively rejected mediocrity. More than $20 million in supplemental funding has been secured, nearly $10 million in competitive grants, and another $10 million in low-interest loans in 2 short years. We've secured funding that is now being put to use addressing infrastructure challenges and have plagued the town for the better part of 4 decades. This is not abstract progress. It's visible, measurable, and enduring effort. Financial management has also undergone a dramatic transformation. Years of inconsistent or unclear fiscal practices have been replaced with a clear commitment to accuracy, transparency, and accountability. The town's audits now present a true picture of its fiscal health, with no more understatements of debt service, fund balances, or TABOR reserves. This work has been recognized with awards from the GFOA, a clear indication that trajectory has changed. We are on target to have our first on-time audit in nearly 5 years. When I first arrived, the fiscal year 22 audit was already a month late. The audit hadn't even started. We didn't have an auditor selected for the town. We've intentionally made efforts to improve our financial reporting, and I'm proud of what our team has accomplished. Processes that were once arbitrary. I got 10 more seconds. Do you care? Okay. Processes that were once arbitrary or inconsistent have been restructured to ensure fairness and equity permanently. Whether it's permitting, procurement, or public engagement, procedures now reflect the town's mission to provide a government that ensures a quality of life for all residents by striving to provide exemplary service in a safe, healthy, and transparent manner while protecting our precious natural resources without favoritism or exception. Equally important, this team does not operate in a vacuum. Policy is developed with the community, not just for it. Residents are now part of the decision-making process in a meaningful way, such as the special event policy. Later this evening, you'll do something else with deciding something on short-term rentals. And that's a credit to everyone at the state.
And I have to stop you.
That's okay.
Because
I will put
we only
this,
had 3 minutes.
I will put this in our record.
And the reason I said what I said was it might have been better to do that as an announcement because you didn't tread on the agenda part as a citizen, but thank you. And do you want 3 minutes on anything not on the agenda?
Yes,
Okay, go right ahead.
there's like a word that's on the agenda that I'm gonna say, but it has nothing to do with what's on the agenda.
So give us your names and.
I'll sign it.
You just.
Sorry, we're just having too much fun up here. Hi, my name is Jester Packerman. I live on Delta Avenue in Peonia. I'm the executive director of the North Fork Valley Creative Coalition. Also on the board of the North Fork Valley Chamber and recently appointed to the Delta County Tourism Cabinet. Thank you for your support, Stefan, with that. I wanted to share with you all some amazing news from the Creative Coalition. So as you know, for 2025, we have taken on Pickin' in the Park, which is a much beloved event of Paonia. This is its 18th year. And at the beginning of this year, knowing we were gonna put on Pickin' in the Park Mountain Harvest Festival and the Paonia Holiday Art Fair, we set a very lofty goal of raising $100,000 in sponsorships to make sure that those events can continue to happen, be sustainable, and be free for our community and pay artists a living wage to participate. And I am very happy to report that we have reached that goal. So I want to appreciate the town's support and also all of our incredible local and regional businesses and artists and makers and creatives who obviously invest so much in what the Creative Coalition and these events bring to our community. And we just saw this last weekend with the Wood Brothers concert, an incredible amount of positive feedback from all of our businesses that did really well, bringing tourism through that kind of creative event, through, you know, incredible music to our community. So I'm really happy to say that we reached our goal and that you can see the ways that these events are positively affecting our community. And that has nothing to do with anything on the agenda.
I will vouch for that. Anybody else in the audience inspired to come up and speak on something not on the agenda? Anybody on Zoom? See no hands, so we will move on to the consent agenda. And let's see, we have 2 sets of meeting minutes, no, just one, June 24th, correct? And July 3rd, yes, I'm sorry, and July 3rd. And we have the Pickin' in the Park liquor license and disbursements. So I just wanted to make sure I had sent an updated Secretary of State's certificate. Did you all get that?
Yes.
So that will be inserted in lieu of the one that's outdated for the Pickin' in the Park, just so you know, and that's the only question.
I also took a picture of the liquor license in the window of the teen center and sent it as well. And it was after the packet. It got ripped down from the gazebo. So we put it in the window of the teen center.
I can confirm though that everything is in order with that special event liquor license, the town has everything. So,
Any questions on anything else?
yes, like quick minor question. So on the minutes, when it says so under actions and presentations, 1800 and Otter, is that some kind of weird timestamp that's off that we get?
Yeah. Exactly. Is that the June 24th?
That is, yes.
I'll fix it.
Thank you. And then I have a question on the disbursements. What is the Blade Group LLC, the Second Street asphalt patch? Was that just right out here?
What was, I didn't hear the first part. It's fun.
It was Blades Group? I thought the town was doing that, but we didn't.
Yes.
I can answer this one. So this is it's a new product. It's not what we did out there. It's bagged asphalt. It's a pothole filler.
Yeah, so it's an alternative to cold patch. It's not a patch, it's actually repair. So that one, it's a temporary patch, for sure. And that was done in time frame to do charity days, pretty much. And then we're going to replace it with this one.
But this disbursement is it's not related to that. That description is incorrect. It's an asphalt patching program. Or product, sorry.
Yeah, I was like,
So no, the Blades Group, you didn't put any bags down there, did you?
no, not there.
But you purchased them. So
We purchased.
it's an asphalt patching product that we got after that patch was done. The description is incorrect. It shouldn't say Second Street patch.
So which material is incorrect?
Well, we were going to use it to replace that, because that was a temporary.
Over by where it slips.
And then just one more quick question with regard to disbursements. I was just looking at the cleaners. Is staff happy with how they're doing? I know it's a stretch, it's related, but that's where.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been some things that they haven't really done, but when we ask them to do it, they end up doing it. I don't know about the PPE. If they've come in, they've taken care of it. So they were missing some things. We asked them to take care of it. They were responsible.
I have no further questions.
Anyone else?
I have an explanation on our disbursements as well. I didn't know that the process, so I took over the process while Kaj was out of training. I didn't realize that when changes were made to the list the finance committee does, that we just print a new report and that's what gets signed. I didn't feel comfortable doing that, so I made the change. It's on page 71 of the packet. You can see my handwritten note. It's up on the screen. And then I printed the new page showing that I actually made it in the system. So when we print checks and it goes to the general ledger, it goes to the vice.
Everybody good with that? Any more questions to follow up on that? Okay. Is somebody ready to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Let me sign this and send it up and down the road. And we will go to administrator's report.
This is our deadline departmental scorecard. It has been updated. So everything has been updated within it. We're doing all sorts of different projects. I did add a new time frame for the personnel policy handbook update. Now that we are under contract with a human resources consultant. Any questions on that departmental scorecard? It's many pages and pretty dense.
I have a question about the sidewalk for business use permit audit. It says renewal letters sent out and applications taken to new sidewalk users. First compliance steps will be taken June 2nd. Is that the $25 per thing that's outstanding?
Yes, and that one's actually not updated because this was all the same class last week, so, but we've actually not only sent out the friendly reminders, we've been out some friendly reminders, and so that audit is almost completed this year.
People are doing it.
Any other questions on the scorecard? With that, we'll move on to, and Nikki, do you have anything for Public Works you'd like to verbally? Okay. Chief Lyman, you're on the police department.
Yes, we included water, that's typically the first meeting of the month, but this month's gonna be the second. Quick update, total reports for June this year were 90, last year we had 117, so last year was certainly busier. In talking with the guys, I think what we recognized from last year was May 31st last year, Kevlar Pass opened, and given that we had our bridge issue at Blue Mesa, we almost immediately saw that uptick in people, a lot more traffic stops, there's a lot more people in town last year than what we observed so far this year. But that's kind of the numbers on that, and I had to do that.
Any questions for the chief on this report? Yes.
It seems like we're out of the verbal warning phase and we're moving more into the citation phase based on the numbers.
Yeah, and that's kind of across the board with a lot of things we have. And obviously, our speed limit changes have been in effect for a while now. Code enforcement, dogs off leash, some of those things is what we're seeing a lot more now. And a lot of it's are repeat offenders, people that have been warned at least once, if not twice verbally. I've been educated on that, and now they're receiving a citation.
Thank you. Anyone else? Then we'll move on to actions and presentations. And I will ask for public comments during each one of these presentations. And again, it's a 3-minute limit. And our first is consideration of approval of the contractor for the 2 million gallon tank rehabilitation project. And I'm going to turn that over to Stefan.
So we did a competitive bid for the tank relining. We've already had this project in motion, right? You've already approved, we've already done the site. First, we had to purchase the property, that's done. Did the site work, that's done. We had the temporary tank. Is it here? It's coming. Temporary tank is going to get installed. Now this is the actual work to reline the tank. We did receive 3 bids. I did ask that our lowest bidder was Marquis Precision Company, but they were missing or was it they were not that they were missing anything. It was that they didn't have references for the water for like water tanks or anything like that. I asked that our engineers reach out to them, see if they could get that required information, get those references. They did. They went and reviewed everyone's references and those bids, and that was their ultimate recommendation, was to go with this bidder, MPC. We did receive 3 different quotes. They were they were pretty high. First one was from TMI Coatings for $1,494,000. The second one was WBS Coatings, $1,599,884.75. And Markley's Precision Company for $916,250. They submitted the lowest qualified bid, and it is the recommendation of our engineers that we move forward with them. On their references, some of the things that people said bad about them was that they came in with a camper and camped on site without the project manager knowing that they were going to camp. I don't think we have an issue with that. And then that when you gave them hours of operation that they could work, they tried to push it by 30 minutes to an hour ahead of time or later. I don't think we're going to have an issue with that either. So they want to get the job done. And like I said, they were the lowest, most responsible bidder as recommended by SGM.
Questions from the trustees to start with? Yes.
Okay, just two questions. Because it's such a significant difference, could SGM explain why? I mean, that's,
So
like, it makes me question, like, is this gonna be a good product?
yes,
And it said, oh, and the other thing is that they're utilizing the alternative method of paraffin wax coating removal.
yeah. So two things. We had that same concern to make sure that the bidder or the estimator didn't miss anything, and that the project managers that was for Markley's knew that knew everything that was included in the bid. We asked that question I had SGM ask that question of Markley's. They didn't miss anything. That is their bid. That's they think they can do it for that price.
Did I misunderstand that alternative coating method?
It's not paraffin wax. It's to remove the paraffin wax, the old coating. So what was spec was dry ice blasting, and what was the alternative? Okay. So 14%. It's going to be, I don't remember what that alternative bid was, but it was in our bid manual. It was one of the addendums that went out.
Well, I just didn't understand what I saw that in back. I mean, it was sort of standing out there on its own. I just wondered what the coating method was. And it wasn't clear to me that was for removal of that.
Yeah, it was an alternative removal method. I didn't put the bid manual in here. It was over 100 pages.
I'm gonna ask for any, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and the dry ice method is very expensive and it's hard to keep that kind of dry ice there in this kind of heat. So that's also why we went with an alternative.
Does anyone in the audience, would they like to comment? Sure.
Mary Catherine, in-town resident. Any idea when the work's going to start?
We'll add that into our discussion.
All right.
Anyone else? Anybody on Zoom? I don't see any hands up. So oh, yes, come on up, Jess.
I just forgot to sign.
Oh, okay. I had a couple questions based on the table with the amounts that they did. It's on page 92 of the packet. So my questions, I know that we don't have anybody from SGM, but it's interesting that their price for buying like one item is so much less than the other two bidders. So I'm hoping that SGM, I have no idea what a 24-inch diameter Benton riser is, but they're gonna charge us $4,000 and the other two were $16,000 or $13,000. So again, I kind of, just want to make sure that we are not going to get a bunch of change orders because they they underbid on a piece of equipment.
So that was our concern. That's why we asked SGM to have them ask those questions. And I should have put this email in there. Let's see.
In many cases, they are, a little more expensive with certain pieces of equipment. But
Sure. Okay. Can't find the email. But we did ask those questions, and he said that he would check back with their project manager or estimator to make sure that this is an accurate bid, and they said yes. But I think that might have even been his letter. Yeah, bid for completeness review, including reviewing relevant project experience, calling project references, and reviewing additional qualifications for MPC. Their bid and complaint qualification packet is attached. Project references were generally favorable. SGM also takes no exceptions to MPC's proposed subcontractors. Based on our bid review, SGM recommends the town award the project to MPC and sign the attached notice forward.
So it sounds like, if we sign a contract and they say they're gonna charge us $4,000 for a 24-inch diameter vent with riser, that's what they
That's what
charge
they
us.
charge us, correct.
They can't come back and say it was $6,000.
And if they fail to perform, they have to put up a performance bond. That's part of the project that we can draw off of. We don't want to go that, we don't ever want to get to that point because that will draw a project on. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, trustee
A
Heck.
little question. I'm just curious, who's responsible for cleanup after they're done?
What do you mean clean up?
Well, there's gotta be some stuff scraped off the wall, right?
Yeah.
Where's it go? Who gets it?
So that's their responsibility as well. So there's, the exterior coating has some lead in it. And so they had to present a certificate that shows that they know how to deal with lead-based paint. That's outside, not inside the tank. And so they have to show how that they know how to remove that without contaminating.
Oh, I didn't know the inside this one.
I think it was, I'm trying to pull it up on one of the pages here. It was here. But they know how to deal with that kind of stuff.
And that was a big part of the RFP that went out.
Correct.
It was really long and prescriptive. It's pretty impressive.
And then WBS was the only Colorado company that responded, correct?
They're out at Grand Junction, yeah, right, Junction? Yeah. And there was a bid that had and then if you look at the spreadsheet, the breakdown of the bid tab, they had a math error that SGM corrected as well.
Any other questions? So then I will ask, so if all the approvals are done tonight, as in the packet, what's your estimated time?
Well, temporary tank comes next week. And so that's why we also have an agenda item for water restrictions, because we're losing a lot of capacity when we go to that temporary tank. And then hopefully they can start within a few weeks after.
If everybody comfortable with their questions being answered, somebody ready to make a motion?
I do want to say that the math in my staff report is incorrect. It should be $957,750. instead of the 916,250.
Okay, what should it be again?
957,750.
Let me make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the contract with let's see. Barclays Precision Company to rehab our 2 million-gallon tank and recoat. And their price not to exceed $957,750.
Did you read the rest of it? Do you have the staff report in front of you?
I do.
Okay.
And direct the staff to issue a notice of award, sign the contract, and issue a notice to proceed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Our next topic for consideration, it is scheduling a work session in August for the short-term rental regulations. So at the last meeting, there was a discussion about the short-term rental and the need to, we have a moratorium in effect until the end of the year. Implementing the current code. The clock is ticking to try to address short-term rentals. So the thought was to start scheduling a workshop for the trustees to hear public input and I don't know how other trustees, if you have other input on that, but if you want to try to find the date and the time. Or we'll do a doodle poll, which is actually probably the better way to go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was thinking about this, I was thinking it might be helpful to just create an ad hoc committee with members of the public who are invited. What I think about is there are polar opposite perspectives in this community, everything from absolutely none to free for all kind of. And, I will say my hesitation is that we run into the same thing that happened last time where we didn't nail it and the citizens voted it down. And in my ideal world, this ad hoc committee would run by consensus, which means that you take all of those voices and you find your middle ground. And it's a process. So yes, I know that we as trustees can do this, but in my mind, it would be more powerful if we could just bring all of the opposing sides together and make this happen. And personally, I have run a lot of consensus-based meetings, and I think that that this could be effective for something like this. So that's my 2 cents. I do agree, we do need to work on it, however that gets done.
Other thoughts from trustees?
I would like to suggest that we set a number of meetings and that we have these meetings consecutively. And the goal is to get the people that worked on our plan. I read all of the comments on housing in the plan. And I would like to get those folks involved as well in this, because they express their opinions quite clearly. And I think they need to be in the mix with this as well. And my suggestion is that we set a number, and to throw it out there, 3 meetings, and have the meetings.
And you want it to be a work session.
And it's work sessions only.
Right.
Not a
That's why I'd
town
like
meeting.
to change that, because a meeting's all different than a work session. Thank you.
We have work sessions, and we have, say, 3 of them, and we have them 2 weeks apart. They're announced as broadly as we possibly can. A town website, the Facebook page, and also with KVNF on their community bulletin board. And that we seriously take everything down, compile it. And I don't know that we can do consensus in the meeting, because that kind of short circuits the process where the town board makes decisions. But we have all of the information in front of the town board before we make another stab at this.
Before I take any more trustee input, I'd kind of like the audience members to be able to come up and give us what they're thinking. For those who are in the audience and would like to come and speak on the topic for 3 minutes, and just come on up.
Just speak a little bit. I don't have 3 minutes worth, but I like the idea of consensus. Because I believe that.
Anyone else in the audience that wants to speak on this? And I don't see any hands. Okay, all right, I just want to give because this is your opportunity. I'm not going to ask for input from the audience again. This is your opportunity on this topic. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Okay, all right.
So initially, I was gonna say something similar to what Rick was saying, in that we just need to get meetings scheduled, we need to get this ball rolling, and I think that those meetings should be in the evening to accommodate the maximum number of people. Work sessions, sorry. That being said, I hadn't entertained the idea of an ad hoc committee until trustee Swartz brought that up, and I think that's a good idea. I do. I think it makes sense to meet initially with 2 board members, at least 1 staff member, members of Common Ground Paonia, as well as, either Mr. McCarthy or a representative of his at a minimum, just because those seem to be the polar opposite groups and the more vocal groups and the ones that I think we really need to get in the room. And then have a larger conversation once we've had that initial difficult conversation that involves everybody, the full board and community at large.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? Because you were on the ad hoc committee for the special events. So that was not a public event. It was just the committee who sat down and talked.
They are not public. They are not closed. But as far as who is giving input, it was just the people that were invited.
Okay, so other people.
And nobody did show up.
This one, I think they would.
Yeah.
But you're not taking input from people other than on the ad hoc committee, is that how it went?
I think that would be up to the ad hoc committee to determine how they run.
I think you need to have the rules of engagement well put together, so it's doesn't turn into bigger than you want. Because in my experience, I used to do rulemaking for the state of Wyoming. And what I found was we were much better off if we had what I said was a straw man, which was an initial document to work from, rather than just free form input, because it gives you something to say, nope, that's not good, or I like that, but that's missing this. So anyway, that's kind of my suggestion, is to have a draft to work from if you do an ad hoc committee. So then people can say that we don't like that, this is missing this isn't strong enough. And that would be coming from the staff. So that's just my suggestion. Otherwise, I do think if you go to ad hoc committee, you really need to have a very specific bullet pointed agenda, because we all know this is really, people are have a lot of strong opinions about this, and it could, we had some of those, with flags and street closure earlier a couple years ago, and I think those were pretty tough to get through. So I would really create some sidebars if you go with that route personally. And I am not volunteering. To be on that, how could it?
What I do want just to address 2 points. One is there has to be a strong agenda regardless if it's work sessions or not, because there are a lot of details that have to be sorted through. So it's not like if the trustees are going to have work sessions, we're going to have a set agenda. And as far as having a working document, we have a working document to start from. And it's like, okay, well, let's start there. And I think that there are some areas that could use tweaks, overhauls, whatever. And then similar, to the point that you made, Trustee Stelter, is this ad hoc committee, just like the special events committee, would not be in committee decisions. They would bring it, do updates, et cetera, to see if it's moving in the right direction. And I might regret this, but if there is an ad hoc committee, I would volunteer to be. Thank you.
Other trustees, thoughts? Administrator Wynn?
I'm not touching it.
Trustee Check, your thoughts? If you have?
I agree with you that if we started with the STR rental thing that was rejected, and let us work from that and say, well, what is it you didn't like? This is for work sessions. What is it we can improve upon? Just to have a document to start in a framework, and then instead of trying to start from scratch.
I would like everyone to be cut, because I have a feeling I'm gonna be the staff member that gets put on this committee. I want everybody to be cognizant that we are in budget season, and August is budget season, so I will be very stressed and busy. Yeah. Trying that first.
Trustee Heck, your thoughts?
I think the way I would do it was just run with the counter proposal they made to, remember, it was phase out down to the number that we wanted. They did make that counter proposal. Run with that and bring the people to disagree and see what they don't like about it, and then negotiate down from there.
So are you suggesting take the existing draft?
Their
And modify
their
it.
their counter offer, yeah.
What do you mean counter offer?
Well,
I'm sorry.
they sort of went along with phasing out the, the STRs and stuff like that, it's non-transferable. That was in, I read it.
Wait, I don't know what document you're referring to. That's,
I'm not sure I am,
confused.
but I'm not sure I am either, to be honest.
I'm just confused, yes. Kurt, better. I know.
Trustee Beck is referring to the ordinance that was in the initiative petition that didn't
Probably.
make it past form. I wonder if that's
Oh.
the ordinance he might be.
The second one that came in that had many
Correct.
parts of it they could not do through ordinance
Correct,
because it wasn't legislative.
all right. I kind of liked it.
Yes, clerk better.
That can be done in a citizen's initiative petition. All of those things are things that can be done by the board.
Mhm.
So just toss it out.
Okay, that's just my opinion. I'm not used to getting my way, so it's all right.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't understand where you were.
Whatever, I think most of the time I don't
Sorry.
understand it either.
And I didn't want to pretend like I did. So thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So we have one volunteer for an ad hoc committee. Go ahead.
Well, I also would like, I think trustee Stelter, you brought up the housing resources group.
Right.
And would it be, I have to say, I've always been impressed with, I don't remember her name, but Shay, and how she facilitates meetings. And would it, is it possible that we could involve her as that outside facilitator to take some pressure off of staff? Because I get it's budget season, and to keep things moving forward. And you have a town clerk there.
Oh, thank you. Sure.
I'm fairly sure that Ms. Coburn has recently engaged with Hotchkiss to start rewriting their master plan, so she might not be available, just tossing that out there. I read the paper sometimes. It's good to know.
Stalemate. Trustee Hunter?
You replaced me on the public safety committee. I'm giving up the easy one for the hard one, come on.
I think that it should be a larger ad hoc committee And I think that 3 members is not too many for this.
Which has to then be public, it has to be a
It'll have
notice,
to be noticed.
has to be noticed, which is
Well,
not,
the work session.
no, it does. If you have 3 trustees together, it has to be
Well,
noticed.
that-
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, just. that
Well,
has
another
to be
thing
noticed.
is that August is an extraordinarily busy month for the town and everybody else. It's just crazy. And I think if we have 3 members, you can actually be sure that you have 2 members there. And that's really what is concerning to me. And I would volunteer myself.
Say here, volunteers.
I will volunteer for this. But I also am quite committed in August. I have a lot of things going on in August.
So well, let me just ask, I think we need to take this in pieces. Would somebody like to start out with, would you like to make a motion on whether or not to create an ad hoc committee? And then if that passes, then we can talk about the mechanics of the ad hoc committee. How's that? So would somebody like to make a motion for the ad hoc committee that is not enumerated yet?
I would like to make a motion to create an ad hoc committee to address short-term rentals
I'll
regulations.
second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that's checkbox is good. So now an ad hoc committee to get together and I think, okay, do you want to start with members of the ad hoc committee or numbers?
I would make a stab.
Okay,
Okay, I would like to make a motion to have the ad hoc committee be composed of 2 trustees, 1 staff, and 2 members of the public.
we have a second. Oh, sorry.
2 members of the public, thank you. Which I believe is the same size as the special events.
Okay, any,
Discussion.
well, we,
Need a second first.
yeah, I need it. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, now go forth and discuss.
One of the things the public notice does is it gets the notice out to the public, anybody that's in the town email chain. They'll know that this meeting's going on. And one of the things is I really, really, really want as much public participation in this as possible. This is a big deal for our town, and I think that really is what we need.
And go ahead, Josie.
I completely agree. However, or additionally,
Mhm.
I also think as a starting point, taking a smaller group with the polar opposites, just as a starting point, I think it's a good idea. I was kind of shocked at the 2, and then I sat with it for a minute, and we've got to start somewhere. And I do think it needs to involve everybody, but we will certainly get there.
So the motion is 2 trustees, a staff person, and 2 citizens. And we have a second. Any more discussion on that before I ask for a vote? Okay, oh, did you have, Mike?
No, I
Trustee
just have a
Hick?
second.
Oh, it's seconded. It's
Oh,
been
sorry.
seconded. Okay,
Okay.
all right, all in favor?
I,
So was that? And all against, but those opposed, that's the language. Okay, so it passes 5-1. Right? 4-1, sorry. So, okay, so the next thing is, do you want to, how did you all choose your citizen participants when you did the special events ad hoc committee? Did you do it? Did you?
who we thought
Did you
were the
reach out?
most involved parties.
But you reached out after the meeting. You didn't, did you decide it? You didn't
Right.
decide here.
Right, so for the 2 out, citizen representatives, after our initial meeting, I think we discussed doing, was it the 2 people that put on the most events? So that was Jess and Bob, so.
So, okay,
And if I may just add to
I'm certainly not tied to being on this ad hoc committee. Like, if Frank wants it, he can have it.
I was considering just making an announcement that I will be at the meeting and that it will be public noticed. So as a citizen, I'm very concerned about this.
And Clerk Better?
I was gonna say for this particular thing, since you guys are looking for public input as well, it would already be publicly noticed. Wide ranging, so if that's what you guys are wanting is community comments, so I just wanted to toss that out there.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So are you saying that with it being publicly noticed, any trustee can participate?
Yeah.
Or show up to the meeting?
Okay, good.
But even if there's a quorum there, it is still a work
Can't make
session.
any decisions.
Yep.
Can't be.
No decisions made, okay. Okay, so, well, you just chose to have 2 trustees, so do we have volunteers in trustee pro tem Schwartz and trustee Stelter? Are the 2 of you willing to be the ad hoc committee
I am.
members? I know you already had, you were.
I will.
Okay, all right, so then, do we have to, well, it sounds like, so Stefan, if you were not the staff person, is there anyone else that could be? Okay. So do the 3 of you get together after this meeting and think, talk about who you'd like to reach out to and ask for the participation of 2 citizens? How did you do that? I mean, it was pretty obvious with your special events.
Right.
And, I mean, yeah.
I think so. I think we would talk about it, find out, who would have the time to actually participate. I think it would be really wise to have at least one of the 2 residents that led the initiative to repeal the ordinance, and then one of the 2 residents that led the last failed initiative. That was completely, it had some good points, it had some points that kind of got off, but that would be a discussion after. And I think it's really important, though, before we do that, that it's formally accepted that the 2 trustees are on that ad hoc committee by motion or vote.
Look better.
I was gonna say, just like the last time too, if you guys wanna split it up, that's fine too, but we'll also need an official motion to refer this to an ad hoc committee, what the objectives are, and when you guys want stuff to come back to the board of trustees.
That's right. I think that's what we did with our special event was we came back at the 3 and gave objectives and how we were going to proceed. So
At the next meeting. Or,
sure.
and I'm just asking, I don't recall the
I think it was the
mechanics.
next meeting or the meeting after.
So our first meeting is July 12th, or August 12th?
12th, yes.
Yeah, I think that was.
Oh, good. It's a 3-week one, so I got time.
So. But. Is that ample time? And, okay, so. Let's back up a second. We need a motion for who will be the 3 representatives from trustee and staff. If somebody would like to make a motion for that.
I'll make a motion myself.
Yes,
Okay, I make a motion that Town Administrator Wynn is the staff representative, trustee Stelter and myself, trustee Schwartz, are the 2 trustee representatives.
second,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, that passes. And the next one is to determine what we'd like to see.
I
What-
can make a
what-
motion for that.
Okay, very good.
I make a motion that at the August 12th Board of Trustees meeting, that this ad hoc committee bring forth who the other 2 public participants will be, what the objectives are of the ad hoc committee, and the deadline for bringing something back to the Board of Trustees.
I'll second that as well.
No discussion on that, is everybody ready to vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's all we need on that topic, right? Thank you. All right.
I'm actually kind of glad, now that I think about it, that trustee Hunter wasn't on the ad hoc committee, because there'd be 3 members of the planning commission then. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
This is a good makeup.
Yeah, that's good. So we should do that. Okay. Item number 4, consideration of addendum to Brightwater Engineering's MSA for hydrogeologic study, additional scope of work. Did I skip one?
You did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot the water restrictions. No, sorry, I'm so sorry. Consideration of resolution 19-2025 water restrictions, which is on page 154, if anybody's following my page numbers.
So the town had scheduled a post ahead of time, thinking that we wouldn't make it this long before this resolution was passed. So everybody knows about the water restrictions on social media land already. It went out about 8 minutes ago. So, but these water restrictions are not because we're running out of water. It's because we are putting in a temporary tank when we start our relining process, which takes our 2 million gallon finished water capacity down to 725,000 or 775,000 gallons of water. It's a drastic reduction in the amount of finished water that we have to start pushing out to our customers. And we're trying to limit how our water plant has to work to keep up with it. So that's why we're implementing water restrictions. Right now, the motion has, or the resolution has, different sections that are involved. That talks about a few things in our whereas sections. So we can legally restrict water or prohibit water for irrigation by our own code. That's PMC section 13180G. It explains, this resolution also explains why we're doing it. It also talks about what our peak demand is. It's not just in-town customers, it's out-of-town customers and the 24 consecutive water systems. So we're trying to reduce that demand. We do follow, Colorado state water law with priority, and the highest priority uses are in-house residential, industrial, ag, and then recreational. And then if there is insufficient, we can reduce, curtail, or ban watering lawns and other vegetation. We don't just have our in-town residents, but we also service, like I said, 24 consecutive systems and then individual out-of-town water customers, and 100 bulk water customers that also are commercial operations that go to fill cisterns all throughout the county. So it's necessary to have these restrictions. And the last whereas is multiple processes were considered, but ultimately the Board of Trustees would take the recommendation of public works staff on the most straightforward way to implement water restrictions and the most readily enforceable, since both in-town and out-of-town services are considered. The 24 water within the sections for the now being resolved. The 24 water consecutive systems are listed. There was one that I didn't have in my original list, and they are in a consecutive system. They are considered, that's the North Fork Trailer Park. They are considered a consecutive system. So there are so many homes out there. And then the water restrictions are that water users may water lawns and other vegetation on a restricted schedule. Addresses ending in an even number may irrigate only on even numbered calendar days, and addresses ending in odd number may irrigate only on odd number calendar days. There shall be no irrigation allowed on the 31st day of each month during throughout the duration of the stage 1 water restrictions. I'm going to give an example of how that would operate. They begin August 1st, so it's not like this is today or tomorrow. It begins August 1st. We are saying that if you are serviced by like an irrigation company and you use ditch water to irrigate, you can still do that. You're not going to be restricted from that. What we've done on the policy side of things is I have purple irrigation flags that we will give to anybody that comes in to say, hey, I'm with Stewart Ditch, and they say, here's my bill. we can give them a flag to put in their yard so neighbors aren't calling on other neighbors during this restriction. And it helps our staff as well to say, okay, that is ditch water that's going out. We do have those flags ready to go out tomorrow. And our staff already knows about that process of who can have a purple flag. There are some penalties that can be attached to this, and this is also within our code, Payoneer Code, Section 13180. It's a fine up to $250 per occurrence, plus the cost of all expenses in the case, including our attorney fees. Should somebody fail to comply, it's not like we're going to go out and say, hey, here's your $250 fine right off the bat. We're going to say, hey, are you aware of the restrictions? We'll try to get compliance before it goes to fines. Only for the most egregious violators we get a fine, and then a summons. So, but that is kind of how these restrictions are going. We still need public comment. So.
I think at this point, I'll ask for public comment on this issue. Come on up, Deborah.
So I just looked on Facebook in the Payoneer, Colorado message board and searched for it. I don't see any announcement. So, and if I don't see it searching for it, then there's gotta be, I'm suggesting a variety of ways of getting the word out so that actually people know about it. And I have no idea what date it is, but I know it's Tuesday, so it would be easier to be if it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for evens, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for odds. That's my opinion. And also for, if you set up a water system, like my system is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you don't set it by the date. So I would have to go out there every week and reset it. And I'm gonna be gone for a couple weeks. So then what, do I get charged $250 a day because I couldn't reset it? So those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Yes. Deborah's still signing in. Thank you.
Mary Backman, anyhow. I agree with these people completely. I too have an automated water system and I would have to reset it. And that involves 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different stations that I would need to reset every week to make sure it fell. Whereas we have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, I could very easily set it that way. And it also means then that maybe Sundays are a water-free day instead of just the 31st. It would be Sundays that are a water-free day, which should also reduce consumption. So I think that's a good idea.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, come on up.
My name is John Bowles. I'm here to represent the Stewart Basin Water Company. Checking the website, town website before I came in here, couldn't find anything on this. Will be posted soon.
It will, yes.
Okay. I did receive your email from Stephen, and I've already notified many of our constituents. What you said in the email seems to be represented here. Will there be any changes? I've already sent notice to my constituents. Most of our people have ditch water anyway. It's just trying to make sure that they get the right information. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Thanks. I'll see any hands online, so. Oh, yes, okay, you're next.
Reviews, which town have houses in town. All I want to say is I agree with the two ladies. The simpler this is made, the easier it will be to fulfill the requirements. So I'm just here to say, I agree.
Thank you. What I'd like to do is ask Nikki to explain why there was some discussion of going both ways. And I think it'd be helpful for everyone to hear why this system was going to be better for the public works staff.
So this system has been used by other municipalities as well as its common numbers, right? Even with even odd, it's very easy to understand by the general population. It's also, we met with Chief Lavender as well. It's very hard to enforce when it's, ping ponging across the street or things of that sort. So it's very easy to see this side of the street isn't even, it's an even day, are they watering? So enforcement, common practice, as well as easy to remember by the public, even thought about.
So the intent is water conservation. And so one of the things that we were also looking at was some of these stage 1 water restrictions include that you can't use an automated system, that you have to use something that's by a hose. And it can only be during certain times of the day. So those were other considerations that were, or those other restrictions that were considered. Again, we are talking about water conservation. So I already have to tell our museum, who was using over 100,000 gallons of water a month for the yard, to stop, because that's coming, right? And they're not being charged for it as well. And so the easiest way for us to try to enforce this, not just in town, but also out of town for all of our systems, is to know if you've got an even address, it's on an even day. If you've got an odd address, it's on an odd day. If you've got these timers, I know it can be inconvenient, but we know that, but the intent of this is to not use as much water. The intent is to stop irrigating, right? Without saying no irrigation.
Yes.
And years ago, I ran a landscape business, installed irrigation systems, and every one I ever installed had a manual set. And I suggest that the manual set be used on your day. You just can't have the automatic timer, that's all.
Other trustee comments, questions?
I ask a question.
No, sorry. And you know what, Matt, Chief Lamminger, would you also explain the fact that our numbering in the town of Paonia is not always even on one side and odd on the other side? Because I was thinking what you all have proposed and then learned that we don't have a nice east, west, north, south lineup of numbers.
So traditionally in grid layout for the city, you have odd numbers on the south and the west side of the streets. That's your standard layout. County and several places in the county don't necessarily utilize that system. We have several streets in town that will have odd numbers on the north side or the east side. Not all our houses have their numbers out in front either, so we'll be pulling GIS info on that. It just made it easier to look at the address on it. It's not worried about what side of the street was. If we're going to be looking at enforcement, or we're trying to find a house that someone has reported, as opposed to trying to figure out, is it Monday, is it Wednesday, what's their number, where they at? This way we can just use the number and the calendar. It just makes it a little bit cleaner for us to identify the house we need to.
Thank you. Questions? Yes, trustee
I
Hunter.
guess the only comment I have is really minor in nature. It's just a clerical error that caused some confusion for me. So I would recommend that in section 7, after the municipal code citation, that we eliminate that period. Because the system prohibitions is the title of that code section and not any sentence. Something to be subsequent.
Which works when it's in code.
That
Whatever
copy
period
from the
it's
code.
but not in code. Any other discussion? With that, would someone like to make a motion on this resolution?
I move to approve resolution 19-25, implementing the stage 1 water restrictions beginning on August 1st, 2025.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. None opposed? Oh,
Make a clarifying motion,
Yes.
just to clarify that that was resolution 19-2025.
clerk better, yes, was there a?
Roll call, please.
Oh, sure.
Because I was kind of hit and miss. Chairperson Schwartz,
Aye.
trustee Check,
Aye.
trustee Heck,
Aye.
Trustee Hunter?
Aye.
Trustee Stalker?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Yep, thank you for that. Now we move on to item 4.
Madam Mayor,
Oh, yes.
I forgot to put in the clarifying removal of the period in section 7 before the word set system prohibitions, which
Speaking out of turn, I think that can be covered under Scrivener's errors. I don't think that's.
That's what Clerk Bell was gonna say. Yeah, there you go. Now we are to item number 4, consideration of the addendum to the Whitewater Engineering Master Services Agreement. I'm saying that's not what it is it? I'm just.
It is.
That is what it is, okay. For hydrogeological study, additional scope of work.
I apologize, that there is a staff report for this, but for whatever reason, it didn't. I must have not clicked the button to say show in packet. But there is a staff report that goes along with this. It does, so this is an additional scope of work for the hydrogeological study. There was, oh man, I wish I had I'm gonna pull up my staff report, I'm going to find it.
Sure, Mayor.
Yes,
Moved into 5-minute recess.
who would like to second that?
I'll second that.
Hey, who would like to vote on that?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll return at 7:46. Great, thank you. So now we will start with item number 4.
Can't find the staff report.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But the break was nice. But so this additional scope of work covers additional labor that's needed. We weren't able to get up on the mountain when we wanted to, and so that delayed the project. We did lose our hydrologist, and now we had to find, there was new staff that the engineers had to bring on. But our engineers have also been working with WRAP, the Wildlife Ready Action Plan, so that's an additional scope of work. There are some other things that were brought up that are enumerated on page 162 of the packet. So that information is there for everybody. And I think the additional scope of work was $35,000 in labor and fees, and then $7,800 in material fees. Which brings that new contract that we have with Whitewater to $240,774.
Questions from the trustees? Any, oh, yes, did you have your, were you about to raise your hand, trustee Heck?
What am I going on? I have an
You
opinion.
just were the high bidder, you just, anyway.
So
Yes. I'll ask for anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this issue. Please come on up. Okay, seeing none and no hands online. All right. Yes, trustee Hunter.
I move to approve the addendum to Whitewater Engineering for the hydrogeological study additional scope of work in the amount of $35,000 for labor, $7,800 for materials, or a total of $42,800.
I'll second.
On favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That motion passes. Moving on to the audit.
okay, so I did start my management discussion and analysis letter based on the financial statements that our auditor had given us. That draft has changed as of Friday. So that changed my entire MD&A. So all of my statement of net positions have all had to change as well. I've been working on it this week, and I think I'll be done by the end of the week with that, with our annual comprehensive financial report. And it will meet all of our GFOA standards, so the Government Finance Officers Association standards for best practices in financial reporting. That being said, I need more time to review our audit. I'm pretty familiar with what we've gotten in our new financial statements, but it takes time to put that into an MD&A and then also statistical analysis. That's a new section that you've not seen before in our audit. It'll go at the end of my MD&A. It'll be a statistical section to talk about our non-major funds and budget comparisons. So you'll start seeing our non-major funds are things like sidewalk fees, sales tax capital improvement plan, conservation trust fund. Those things make up the non-major funds of the general fund. And so that's what's going to take a little bit more time. But I think when it's all said and done, we're going to have a document that will set us up for excellent budgeting come August and September. So I need a little more time. And I do recommend that you do schedule a special meeting for July 30th. I have checked with our auditors. They are planning to come in person, as well as Lorraine with our Professional Management Solutions, our third-party accountant. The good news is the financial statements that I have seen, the auditors have rendered an unmodified opinion. That's good. That's what you always want to see. So.
You know, on the hydro, on that study, the water study, I'd be tempted to kick it down the road if they're gonna study the water flow, right?
Oh, Mike, we've approved their add-on for that.
Well, that was past expenses, wasn't it? That 35?
No. We just approved them to add that on to their existing contract
Okay.
for Whitewater.
Mayor, can I answer that real quick?
Yes,
So we want this. So we want it to be at a drought time, because they're doing a subsurface investigation of water that hasn't come to the surface but underground, and we want it in a time of low flow.
You want to find the Achilles.
We want to find our low point.
The Achilles heel.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense. Okay, sorry.
That's all right. Any questions on the audit or at our draft stage that we're on? Yes.
I just have a question as far as timing. I know we're bringing in our consultants and staff and everybody. What's the earliest reasonable time we could get this done?
In the day, you mean to meet on the 30th?
On the 30th, yeah,
Oh, for time,
for timing.
I will probably be ready by Friday. But so anytime on the 30th would work.
For staff and for consultants.
Yes.
And then you,
I think it has to be afternoon for consultants,
was the intention to have it during business hours or in the evening?
anytime.
I'm curious. Thanks as far as timing.
I'm wide open.
I have a conflict, but it's only, I'm gonna be on duty during the day. My shift ends at 6. If I get a call, let's say 3, I may be late. But I will make a copious attempt to get here.
I would recommend no earlier than 4. So even if it was like 4:30 to 5:30, I'm assuming an hour. Or
We don't have very complex finances, believe it or not, this year. Next year with all of the federal grants, it'll be a whole different story. So I don't even know if auditors like to talk about their work, so maybe.
Do somebody want to throw out a time of day?
I do. Okay, I'll make a motion that we have a special meeting for consideration of the fiscal year 2024 audit on July 30th at night, from 5 to 6 p.m.
I'll second.
Wait. 5 to 6.
5 to 6.
What do you mean? That it's gonna get over at 6 or? We don't normally have a, I mean,
Oh, that's true. I guess
I don't
we
think you
haven't.
want to cut this
Okay.
short if we're gonna have everybody.
Starting
here.
at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you.
A second,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. And moving on to item number 6 for the tank inspection agreement to go with the tank rewrite. I turn that back over to you.
Okay, so there's construction inspection that's needed for the tank rewinding because, it's a potable water system. It's our drinking water. There has to be disinfection. There has to be inspections on the welds that are done for repairs. There has to be inspections on the actual coatings that are done. And that is outside of the scope, outside of the ability of SGM since they designed it. And they are asking us to appoint a subcontractor through them to do that inspection services for KLM Engineering. That's why that proposal has SGM at the top and then KLM. They are proposing that this be a subcontractor that comports with their contract. Specifically, paragraph 15, they are allowed to give us subcontractors for work that's outside of their expertise or the bailiwick, and that's what they're doing. So all it requires is the board to approve that subcontractor. So this isn't really a sole source purchase. This is a subcontractor for SGM to complete the inspection services. Does that make sense? I know, Mayor, you had some questions. Did I answer those?
Yeah, that was the question. I was thinking it was a sole source, and that is the explanation. Thank you. Other questions from the trustees? And, any questions from the audience? Seeing none and no one online? Okay, well, yes, trustee Hunter.
I'll move to accept the proposal from KLM Engineering to provide inspection services for the 2 million gallon tank relighting project for an amount not to exceed $97,860 and direct staff to issue a notice of award, sign a contract, and issue a notice to proceed.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. So our last item on the agenda is a public hearing for the planning commission meeting or the for the comprehensive plan. So I'm gonna get to that, which starts on page 304. And I have my script to open this up. All right. I will now open the public hearing for informing citizens and receiving public comment regarding the purpose of the public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing will be to consider accepting the final draft of the comprehensive plan adopted by the Planning Commission on July 16, 2025. The purpose of the Paonia Comprehensive Plan, the plan is to establish a course of action for addressing the pressures of future growth and development in the area while maintaining the town's rural agricultural setting. The plan is an officially adopted advisory document that outlines the community's vision and goals for the next 10 to 20 years and beyond. However, it is also a document that should be revisited and updated every 5 to 7 years to ensure that it continues to meet the community's vision and goals for the future. The purpose of the hearing is to provide a public forum for all interested parties who wish to ask questions and comment on this project before the Board of Trustees. The procedure for the public hearing will be as follows. First, there'll be a presentation by staff. After this presentation, we will allow members of the public to speak for up to 3 minutes. All questions and comments must be presented at the lectern after you give your full name and address. Please do not repeat points made by others, but it's fine to say that you agree or disagree with a comment previously made. After receiving public comments, we will allow the town staff an opportunity to respond and answer any questions raised by the public comments. Then the trustees will have an opportunity to ask any questions they have. Finally, I will close the public hearing, and public hearings are recorded for the public record. First, do we have proper notification?
Yes, ma'am, Mayor, we do.
Thank you. Staff, please make your presentation.
Wow. This has gone on for a long time, right? So I want to draw attention that this plan the last plan that we have, Rick was from, and Trustee Stelter was on the planning commission back then in 1996. This has been tried for 30 years. It's been attempted 3 times and failed, and we have pulled something together. The planning commission adopted our comprehensive plan. Was it last week? And here we are accepting it now. This plan that we already heard at the planning commission meeting from some of the participants said that this has been a long time coming, and that they're really happy to see that it was as inclusive as it was. All of the public comment that was received. I do have a couple of things that I want to say. That the planning commission is grateful for the information gathering in public sessions that its consultants Phoenix Rising Resources completed on the commission's behalf. After numerous public input sessions and public review and commenting periods of each individual element of the plan. So by statute, we're only required to have this meeting. We took every individual element as it was drafted and washed it through public comment. We received comments for every element and then did it again for multiple iterations of drafts to incorporate additional comments. We took what was considered best practice and pushed it even further to create a new benchmark for best practices with public input. So I want to say that that's not normal. You don't normally do that, but we did it. After numerous public commenting periods, the Planning Commission unanimously adopted the plan on 7/16 during a duly noticed public hearing. I did close out this grant, yes, on the 17th. So since it was adopted, that met the requirements of DOLA, and I closed out the grant. We're going to get our last payment because the last time we paid Phoenix Rising was in May of this year. It's long past. There were countless volunteer hours that not only staff did, but planning commission members did, the mayor did, even our planning commission chair completed volunteer hours. It was an incredible amount of effort to get this through. You guys now, the Board of Trustees, have to consider the acceptance of this plan. And then once that's been accepted, then it has to be sent to the Delta Board of County Commissioners for their consideration for acceptance because of our growth management area. We're talking about future land use pieces that are outside of our town limits. I can't reiterate how much this planning document means to this community. It's huge. So that was my report. So.
Thank you. And we'll take public comment now. If anybody would like to come and speak on this for 3 minutes, and come on up, Mary, and if you'll give us your name and address, and you will swear to tell the truth in this matter.
Okay. Mary Akron, 511 Box Elder Avenue, Paonia, and I swear to tell the truth in this matter. I want to say, this is one of the best things that has happened for this town. And I have to commend all the members of the planning commission who worked so freaking hard on this and spent hours and hours and hours working and trying to make it into fruition, and it is done. So thank you so much for all your work, and for Stefan and all the work he has put in with it, and for all the people who showed up and gave comments and worked their hearts out too. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak? Anyone on Zoom? See no hands? So there is no staff rebuttal to be made. I will now close the public comment portion of the public hearing. And I'm not closing the public hearing at this time, but now, before I close it, I want to state the documents included as part of, before we close the public hearing, I want to state that the documents included as part of the record for this public hearing include a final adopted draft of the comprehensive plan, all written referral and public comments received during this public hearing, and the notice of hearings. Does anyone have any objection to the inclusion of these items in the record? Okay, seeing none. Any questions from the trustees? Okay. Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing on the comprehensive plan and ask that we have a motion, if everyone is ready for that.
I would like to make a motion to approve resolution 1825. This is 30 years of my life.
Yes, thank you. I will second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That measure. Okay, I will roll call. Okay, before we'll do a roll call, and everybody stay because we have some celebratory snacks to have to say woohoo. So stay after to eat. Okay.
I,
Trustee Check.
Aye.
Trustee Heck.
Aye.
Trustee Hunter.
I.
Trustee Stelter.
Aye.
The motion. With that, I'm adjourning the meeting, and let's. Let me cake. Let me cake. Yeah, it is.